slogan. It's who we are.
Hey guys, boy Stink here today by my long-term buddy Troy Hansford. And if you're thinking about selling your house for any reason, now might be the time to sell, still get top dollar. Believe it or not, my guy Troy is still offering his $5,000 guarantee. What is it, you ask? Well, if you can't sell your house at your price on your timeline that you agree upon beforehand, bam, going to cut you a check for $5,000. Who else makes the offer? Nobody I've ever heard of. And he makes that offer because he continues to spend a ton of money marketing his listings, has about 100 families approved and ready to buy right now. And if for any reason you need to sell right away, Troy can buy your house, all cash, and he can close in as little as 7 days. You have a house to sell, Troy probably has that perfect buyer for you right now, waiting for you to pick up the phone and to call him. Call Troy, get your home sold for the most money. That's 720-900-4433, 720-900-4433. Troy Hansford of RE/MAX Professionals, a Colorado licensed broker. Some restrictions do apply. Want to sell your house? Then call my buddy Troy, 720-900-4433.
Fall weather is on the way. Are you and your vehicle ready? At Castle Rock Chevy GMC, we've got you covered with certified service. Right now, when you purchase an oil change, tire rotation, cabin air filter, and engine air filter, we'll throw in a set of free wiper blades, because clear vision on the road is priceless when the weather turns. Don't wait until the first storm hits. Swing by Castle Rock Chevy GMC today and keep your ride running smooth all season long. Castle Rock Chevy GMC, where hometown service meets unbeatable value. Castle Rock Chevy GMC.
Heads up, pros. Now's your chance to unlock deeper savings. The Home Depot's new Pro Extra Preferred pricing can help you save thousands on the products your business uses the most. But the current benefit ends November 15th. Don't miss out. Registration for the new program is free and easy. Just bring your tax ID or business or contractor's license to the Pro Desk. Register now to lock in the best wholesale prices before it's too late.
Every time I turn around, my friends at Pure Talk give me one more reason to feel good about switching. This month, for instance, they're supporting Canines for Warriors, a terrific organization that trains rescue dogs and then pairs them up with combat veterans struggling with PTSD. The result? They're saving lives on both ends of the leash. This is why I switched to Pure Talk. I like being in business with an American wireless company who shares my values. Yeah, I appreciate unlimited talk, text, and plenty of 5G data for just $25 a month, and I bet you will too. But I think you'll really appreciate doing business with a company who gives back to the men and women who volunteered to defend our country. Just dial pound 250, say micro. With Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team, you can switch in as little as 10 minutes. Again, dial pound 250, say micro, to switch to an American wireless company who actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
Your roof's the single most important part of your house. Snow and high winds can damage your roof. Don't trust your roof to any fly-by-night roofing companies. Call the professionals at Golden Spike for a free roof inspection and tell them you heard about it on The Fan. They're a locally owned company and a Team Dave Logan member.
Call Golden Spike Roofing when your roof needs a fix. 303-942-1386. Golden Spike Roofing.
It's the Great Pumpkin, Colorado. Rock Creek Farms Pumpkin Patch and Corn Maze is one of the oldest in Colorado, with acres of pumpkins to pick, miles of mazes, baked goods, and more. Get your tickets now at rockcreekfarm.com.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan. It's a Bud Light Football Friday. Bud Light, an official beer sponsor of the Denver Broncos. Here's Denver Sports Tonight.
What day is it? It's Friday. It's that day. Mike Rice, Dante Gomez with you for the next hour on Denver Sports Tonight. Thank you for being with us, hanging out, talking some sports. Dante, good to be back with you. I appreciate the little night off on Monday. Thanks for holding the fort down as always.
Absolutely, Mike. I missed you. We actually did. We got a text.
Oh no.
On Monday.
Okay.
No, it was pro Mike Rice.
Okay. Someone wanted me replaced.
No. It was I thought Mike always hosts on Mondays. What is this BS? I think it was somewhat in jest, but they were the people were asking for you, Mike.
The person was asking. The person. That's great. Thank you. Yes, the RamosLaw.com text line 303-713-1043. Dante and I back on this Friday night. We'll, of course, get into this Broncos weekend. Talk a little Nuggets before we get out of here tonight as well with the season opener last night. Dante, the Broncos and the Cowboys will be going at it on Sunday. This is a fascinating one. I know Richie and Phil were talking all about the matchups a lot of the guys have all week long. I guess when you look at where the offense is, I mean, it's impossible for me not to start there. I guess I'm curious, when it talks about getting the offense going, do you look to Sean Payton more, or do you look to the guys more to execute, to come through, however you want to put it? Because to me, it's kind of one or the other or both.
Yeah, I mean, you can't sit here and say, the offense has been perfect. So obviously there's some blame to go around.
For sure.
I would say it's a combination of both. I know that's kind of a cop-out answer, but I think Sean needs to lean into the run a little more. I think that can, get you – I think getting that first down matters so much in the NFL, and it can really propel a drive. So I think the 3-and-outs and just those quick drives that we've seen from the Broncos, I think that's a big part of the problem. So I think him leaning into the run game could definitely help that. Not as many screen passes, which I know has been a massive topic in Broncos country this week. So I think just, slowly but surely gaining some yards, turning it into those third and manageables, I think matter a lot, because I think Bo Nix is pretty good on third down from what we've seen, especially when it is that 3rd and 4 or less. I think Bo thrives in those situations because he does have the capability to run the ball. So I'm going to put a larger portion of the blame, though, on the players themselves. I don't think they've been executing particularly well, especially in those first 3 quarters of a game. Obviously, the 4th quarter was a whole different ball game, but I don't think they executed particularly well in the first 3 quarters. I thought Bo missed some guys. I thought the batted balls was a huge issue last week.
Oh, yeah.
You just can't have that repeat at all during the season. That has to be a one-off. So I'm going to put a larger portion of the blame on the players themselves.
Well, and the drop passes have been an issue.
Yeah, drop passes as
Penalties have been an issue, like you mentioned. And I'm with you. I think if I had to pick one or the other, and there is blame for Sean, there's no doubt about it. Some of the play calling, again, I'll say it almost every time that I'm on with you or pregame, postgame, whatever. I generally lean towards the players in this case as opposed to the play calling. But there have been some play calling situations, I'll put it, that I wasn't the biggest fan of. And yet, Dante, there's just been too many instances of the guys not executing. I was listening to Stink earlier in the week, in the morning with Mike and Stoke, and listening to Mark talk about the ineffective run blocking. I'll take Mark's word for it. I mean, I watch the games. I know you do too. He watches it with a different eye and a more knowledgeable eye for sure. And while Dobbins has been effective at times, I'm not sure he's been as effective as all of us really think he has been. And a lot of the talk is. And I look at it like if players are not executing at a certain level, as the play caller, what do you trust? Who do you trust? How do you really rely on anything with any kind of confidence? Does that take Sean off the hook totally? No. So spare me the text that I'm not giving Sean, or that I'm giving Sean a free pass. I'm not. He hasn't been great in every game for sure. But it's like James Palmer told you guys, was it yesterday or the day before? Sean is scheming guys open on the one hand at times. And the running game has not been great. The guys up front have not been great blocking. So I'm putting more of the onus on the players, with certainly blame for Sean and what he's done as well.
Yeah, I actually think the run game was pretty good up until the Philly game. I think the first 4 games, you're talking about how it's, maybe not as effective as we like to think. I think those first 4 games, J.K. Dobbins was very effective. I think Philly provides a whole nother problem when running the ball. They're just very big, and they have a great defense. I mean, we saw that in the Super Bowl last year. We saw it all year. And then in the London game against the Jets, it never really got going. And then the Giants game, the first 3 quarters, or pretty much the whole game, it never really got going too. So I'm definitely with you on that. I think the last 3 weeks, the run game has not been what it was earlier in the year. And I think that's a big, reason why the offense has struggled. I think in today's NFL, you need a balanced offense. There is no, I guess there is teams that can just air it out or teams that can just run it, but I think it's very far and few teams that do that. Because even when you talk about the Cowboys, they have a great offense, but Javonte Williams has been, a top 5 running back in the league pretty much the whole year. And then Dak is still able to air it out a lot, but you need to have balance. If the defense knows what to key in on, it's just too easy for these guys. They're too intelligent. They're too knowledgeable. They're too good of athletes. They're too big, too strong to be able to be a one dynamic offense. So I think that's a huge reason why the offense has struggled in general the last 3 weeks. So I think everything starts with getting JK going first, and then that'll really open up the game for Bo.
Here's what I'm thinking of when it comes to the running game. And I want to honestly get people's thoughts on this. 303-713-1043 on the RamosLaw.com text line. I think many of us who watch football have an idea of what we want to see out of the Broncos running game. I'm not talking about being effective. That's a given. Effective, productive, etc. But just the style of running game, a little more traditional, kind of pounded at you. And I don't know if Sean Payton's really ever been that kind of coach. I mean, go back to his New Orleans days. I mean, Alvin Kamara never has had a 1,000-yard season. And so I think the way Sean tends to use running backs is just different. And when it's working, it's great. And when it's not, he's going to take the heat, which that's fine. I have no problem people giving him the heat. But how realistic is it, Dante, to think that he is going to use running backs in a way that I think traditionally those of us who want him to use and have an idea that it's more handoff, it's more sort of stretch plays, it's more traditional type of calls. Does that make sense?
No, it does. I think that's a really good question too. I think it's something that we have not seen from Sean, at least in large, a large sample size of it for Sean. So I think J.K. Dobbins. I think he believes in J.K. Dobbins, though. I would hope so. It's a good point. I think he has a little more reservations when it comes to handing R.J. Harvey the ball at this point in the season, which I think is fair on Sean's part. But I think you need to give Dobbins just more touches. Get him 20 touches in the game. I think that's a very fair number. I get that he's had the injury history, but I think winning games, that's what you're paying him to do. It's a 1-year contract. You're not worried about, obviously, longevity would be great with him, but you got to use him to win the games. So I would like to see him get the ball more. I know this is also maybe a little controversial. I'd like to see Bo Nix get involved in the run game a little bit. And you're talking about non-conventional running the ball downhill. Great. Do a more college offense when it comes to Bo Nix running the ball and maybe some zone reads and pitch plays where Bo can keep it if he wants to, or you can throw it out to J.K. Dobbins. I think there's some non-conventional ways you can use him, as Sean likes to do, but also that means getting Bo involved with his legs a little bit. He's a great athlete. We saw it a lot last year. We've seen it in key moments this year, and I get you don't want to get him injured out there, but again, it's about winning ball games and getting first downs and moving the ball. And I think if Bo's not going to be able to be, excel at the intermediate pass game or the deep ball for all 4 quarters, I think this is a way to kind of combat those issues that we've seen.
Yeah, you mentioned it might be more controversial to say. Is it really more controversial to say that Bo should run at least a little more? I'm not talking about 12 carries a game for Bo, but how about 6 to 8? Maybe if the defense can't defend him, maybe 10. But again, I'm not calling for Bo to be the leading rusher or 15 to 20 carries per game himself. Is it controversial? I don't think it is, because I think he can be such an effective weapon that way.
Well, I think the controversial part is obviously you don't want to get him hurt. He is, hopefully the future franchise quarterback of the Broncos, and you don't want to risk him taking unnecessary hits. But to me, it's part of the game. Quarterbacks have always run in this league. John Elway, as well as a passer he was a great athlete. He was out there running around, playing a little backyard football, and he'd run sometimes too. So I think that's where the not controversy, controversy.
Yeah.
I was going to say it like I was British there. That's where the controversy comes with Bo Nix running the ball.
Yeah, he wasn't touched on that 18-yarder, though, that gave him the lead. He went around the left side, and there was nobody there.
Exactly. I think you have to trust him to not take those big hits, and you have to trust him to be able to slide when he needs to, get out of bounds when he needs to, which I think Bo's ready for that kind of responsibility. I don't think you fully unleash him to where he's getting hit by these linebackers and safeties, but I think I would at least trust him to be able to be smart when he's running the ball. The way we've seen Kyler Murray run the ball. He's a very small guy, but if you look at it, he never really takes the big hit. His injury running the ball was when he tore his ACL, which is, you can't really do much about that, but he's not out there getting his head taken off. He, is able to kind of read the room in terms of when a guy's near him, he's going to slide or he's going to run out of bounds when he can. He doesn't do it unnecessarily. I think Bo Nix can have that similar style of running the ball.
Yeah, from on the RamosLaw.com text line from the 7377, little different take here. The players are for sure not playing, but have you thought that's also a result of Sean's schemes? Maybe he's the only one who understands his offense. And to the play calling, he started the game with 3 passes. He threw it all 4 downs with 1st and goal. That's all Sean. Sorry to disagree, but Sean bears more responsibility for the inconsistent offense than the players. I think those are some fair points in there. I do. And this is why, I kind of do go back and forth. I completely agree with the texter. After the Broncos got down to the 2-yard line on that one occasion against the Giants, look, hand it to Dobbins. 1st down, 2nd. At some point, that could very well be 4-down territory anyway when you're at the 2 with 1st and goal.
Well, it was 4 down at one point. I think in the first half they went for it on 4th down and weren't able to convert.
They did. But in that particular situation, you could make the case for taking points for sure, even if it's from the 2-yard line on 4th and goal or 4th and goal from the 1. You could. A lot of people wouldn't agree with it. Back in the day when I was growing up watching the NFL, you always kicked it on 4th and goal. You just did. And I like that the game has opened up a little bit that way, and coaches are willing to take more risks. But no, I totally get it from the texter. I would lean towards the players because we've seen inconsistent play, I think, across the board, whether it be from pre-snap miscues all the way through to drop passes, to blocks that aren't being made. If you diagram up, and I know none of us really, we're all pretty much sick of the Broncos throwing bubble screens. But if you're not going to go out there and block it, whose fault is it? I agree that you could say, well, at some point the coach shouldn't call another one. Okay, fair, but how about the guy should just go block it? There is that side of it. And this is the sort of conundrum for the Broncos offense right now, Dante, is that it is a mixture of everything for sure. And you could make the case that it is more Sean, as our texter just did, and makes fair points. Or you could side with, lean more towards our side and say it's a little bit more on the players. Fact of the matter is, what are we going to see against Dallas? This is a Dallas defense that statistically, it's not just bad, it's horrendous. A few numbers. I know you guys have gone over them on other shows, but let's just, for the sake of putting them out there, 401.5 yards per game allowed, last in the league. 260 passing yards per game allowed, last in the league. 141 yards rushing allowed per game, 30th out of 32. 29.5 points per game allowed, 30th out of 32. The question is, Dante, how much confidence do you have that the Broncos are going to be able to figure some things out offensively against a defense this bad? And I got to be honest, there's a part of me that goes, I kind of got to see it to believe it, even against a defense that's given up these kind of numbers.
No, I think you're right. It's hard to project that the Broncos offense all of a sudden is going to get it, all figured out for 4 quarters of play, and be able to make it work. So if they're not able to get it going against this defense, I don't know what defense they are going to be able to get it going. So I would project that they're able to score, upper 20s, low 30s points in this kind of game, but that's a lot of me kind of making my, mind wrap around to get to that that point total for this team, because we just haven't seen it on the field yet. And so I don't know. I think this is the weekend they get it going in terms of, I think this will be one of the first games we get a good run and pass offense out of this. I think J.K. Dobbins will be up there, 70-plus yards, but I think Bo Nix will also be up there, 250, let's call it 240 in terms of passing yards in this kind of game too. So I think this will be the game where they do complement each other, passing and throwing the ball, and make it really difficult on this Cowboys defense, who, you just ran through the numbers there, who have struggled already. So I think they hear the criticism, and they understand that, it hasn't been good enough. And even beyond hearing the criticism, I think they internally know that this offense has not been working as well as it should. And hopefully they had a good week of practice out there and are able to turn it around this Sunday.
Yeah, Cheryl on the text line is kind of asking the same question. Am I the only one who thinks the Broncos offense might not be able to take advantage of Dallas's defense? I think that's a fair question. We're almost at the halfway mark. And, who are the Broncos? Well, right now they're a team offensively that is really having trouble doing anything. And I do like this text on the one hand that from the 5318, well-coached teams execute well. I agree. But you cannot go catch a pass for a guy. You cannot block for a guy. And if you're not executing at a certain level, we saw in large part, for instance, the offensive line last year play better football. Do I think the offensive line is terrible right now, especially in the run game? No. You look at the numbers, and they're not bad at all. They're 6th in the NFL, 132 yards per game. And Mike brings this up on the RamosLaw.com text line as well, that everybody is saying we need to run more. What does that really mean, Dante? When you're averaging 132, is it because there is a little bit more confidence in the run game, even though it might not be, even though in many people's minds Sean isn't sticking with it enough? Or how many carries do you want Dobbins to have? I like your number of 20. I think that 18 to 20 range for J.K. Dobbins is about what I can realistically expect from a Sean Payton called offense.
Yeah, and I think there's 2 answers to that. I think one, it's the situation. We saw them in the red zone. You brought this up earlier, that J.K. Dobbins is kind of the reason you got down to the red zone. He was running it great, and then you didn't let him finish the job. You didn't let him, punch it into the end zone. So I think one, it's situational running, and being able to, combine multiple runs in a row, which we've seen. And maybe that is subbing guys out if, Dobbins has 3 great runs in a row. Then you do throw Harvey in there because Dobbins is probably pretty exhausted at that point. So I know that people don't love the rotating aspect of Sean Payton's offense. So one, I think it's situational runs and being able to run it when you want to, and, do lean into what's working in that moment. But yeah, I'm with you. I think 18 to 20 carries for Dobbins makes sense. But then 2, I think it's being able to not be predictable running the ball. We had James Palmer on the drive earlier this week, and he was saying that he's talked to some defensive coordinators that are saying Sean Payton's offense is pretty predictable in terms of, hey, we know when the screen pass is coming. We know when they're going to run the ball. We know when they're trying to take these deep shots. So I think it's both of those. I think it's situational running, knowing when to run the ball, knowing when to eat that clock, knowing when, it's working, lean into that. And then 2, it's not being predictable with your play calling, pass or run.
Let me throw out a thought, and I want to see if you think this is part of the mentality of at least some people, that when people are calling for Sean to stick to the running game, are they thinking of sort of the older days of the NFL? I don't mean 50 years ago. I mean up until maybe the last 5 or 8 years, where the idea of that bell cow running back who gets 25 to 30 carries, and they literally just sledgehammer that guy over and over and over. Is that what a lot of people are thinking of when they're calling for more of the running game, or Sean to stick with the running game?
Well, I don't want to speak for others, but in my head, when I'm saying stick to the run game, it is maybe not a bell cow in terms of one guy doing it, but if R.J. Harvey's showing that he's not getting the job done, then maybe it is a bell cow. Maybe it is J.K. Dobbins if Harvey's not able to get it going. But I think combined, you need at least, 25, 30 rushing attempts between and all of the running backs combined, whether that is
including Bo?
Not including Bo.
Okay.
Not including Bo. I think you need 25 to 30 just for the back. So if that's J.K. Dobbins taking 22, 23 of those, if Harvey can't get it going, then it is. But if Harvey's able to have success, then maybe you do give Harvey, 5 to 10 of those, or you give Tyler Bidet. I think we might see Bidet run the ball a little bit more than we've seen this season. With Harvey not being able to get it done the last couple weeks, I think Bidet will get, 5 carries himself.
If people want Sean to have a bell cow running back, do you remember back during training camp in the preseason, he was asked about this, and he really threw a wet blanket over the idea of having a bell cow running back. That's not what he's done in his career. He has not just fed the rock over and over and over 25 to 30 times to one guy and make that the staple. And so when I think back to the Chargers game where he says run the ball on his clipboard, exclamation point, I don't think he's telling himself have a bell cow running back and give your number one back 28 carries in this game. I don't think that's how he uses running backs, and I'm not going to expect him to use J.K. Dobbins or anybody else in that way.
No, I wouldn't either, but to me, it's like you got to get the job done. Like
I
I said,
with that.
If one guy's not doing it, then the other guy's going to have to pick up the slack.
Agreed.
And then, to me, it's a bottom line. You got to run the ball more. It's not a one guy has to do it or two guys. To me, there is no, recipe exactly, but the finished product has to be the finished product in terms of how many attempts we're getting.
Yeah, and I'm still curious about the substitutions, and you alluded to it a minute ago. And again, I'm sure he has his reasons. I just don't understand what they are. And again, that's just from somebody watching the game, not even criticizing. I don't. When I hear, 2 or 3 weeks ago, that the plan is to go more running back by series, and then I still see running back subbing in and out, I get it. Sometimes if you run the ball 3-4 times in a row, or 4 plays out of 5, or 5 plays out of 7 or whatever, you need a blow. And sometimes you have to, take that blow after a play. Not that there's no great time. You just got to sub them out. But that's not what we're talking about. And so I do wonder, and I want to see a little more cohesion. I'm exactly with you, Dante. If Dobbins is the man, let him be the man for a quarter. Let him be the man until he slows down. And JK not going to slow down. If R.J. Harvey flashes, give the kid a couple more touches. Let him see if he can build on that into a 50, 60, 75-yard day. Something like that. So that is why, for me, it really is both sides. I lean towards the player's execution, but when you talk about game planning, when you talk about play calling, when you talk about substitutions, when you talk about the overall operation and the flow, I'm not letting Sean off the hook either. I want to see better. Broncos country wants to see better. How much better will the Broncos show? As we look forward to the second half of the season, ceiling, floor, where's this team going? That's next.
Can J.K. Dobbins take advantage of a poor rushing defense? Will Javonte Williams get a revenge game against his former team? We'll break it all down in the Fan Football pregame show, live on game day starting at noon. Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Hey guys, Mark Schlereth here from my friends at Xfinity, and the other day I'm over at a friend's place. He's pumped to watch football, but his setup, total mess. lagging, buffering, switching between apps, trying to find a game. He claimed to be a big fan, but I feel like I was being fan-fished. See, if you call yourself a football fan, you gotta have Xfinity. It's the ultimate sports destination. I can find the best games and my favorite teams all in one place. And the way I watch, well, it's next level. It's the perfect fan flex. I've got all the action right in my living room, plus Xfinity's best picture and sound with enhanced 4K, so clear it feels like I'm in the stadium. Sometimes I've got 4 games going on at once. Why? Because why not? On top of that, I get real-time notifications, live stats right on my TV. It's the best seat in the house every single time. Next game day, make sure that big fan isn't a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-view requires Xfinity 4K cable TV box.
Catch a ride with EV and Auto. Catch a ride.
Otto, did you hear that?
It's quiet. Too quiet.
That's because it's the all-new Kia Sorento Hybrid. Runs so smooth, it's practically supernatural.
Phew. So not a ghost car?
Nope. Just 655 miles of spooky good range and fuel economy that'll make your wallet scream. What a treat! Don't ghost us. Test drive the 2025 Kia Sorento Hybrid during the Kia Fall Savings Event at Foundation Kia, where the deals are so good.
It's scary.
Visit FoundationKia.com and catch a ride.
Brandon Stokely here from my team, ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Are you ready for winter? Worries you might need a new furnace? Don't know where to begin? Rocks Heating and Air makes it incredibly easy with their new, free, no obligation online heating and cooling quote. It takes less than 5 minutes and gives you options instantly. No calls, no waiting, and transparent pricing. Only at ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Now play that jingle.
HVAC service, installation, repair. ROX Rocks Heating and Air.
Join Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan and Athletic at Mile High Station on Sunday, October 26th from noon to 2:25 p.m. for the Fan Football pregame show. Get your head in the game and enjoy orange and blue face painting and ice-cold Athletic. Athletic, all in, all game.
Mike Rowe here with a fun fact. Did you know that 50% of the air that you breathe inside your home comes from your crawl space? Yeah. Whether your crawl space is wet, musty, or your floors are bouncy, do yourself a favor. Call Groundworks. I spent some time working with these guys, and they're the real deal. Their people are trained and certified to repair your crawl space. Schedule a free inspection with Groundworks, the foundation and waterproofing experts.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
They say there's no such thing as a free lunch. But not true, I say. Hey, everybody, Dan Jacobs with Jacobs Law and 303 Law 4040. And I'm here to tell you about the best, absolute best free meal in all of Denver. Times are tight right now. You go to the grocery store, things are insane. So we all could use a little bit of help. No questions asked. Anybody that needs it can come by every first and third Thursday. Here's how it works. You pull up, you pop your trunk. They put free groceries for the week in your trunk, and they say, how many hot meals do you need? We pass those to you right through your window, and this is good stuff. This is not soup kitchen stuff. I smoke these meats personally. Delicious pulled pork. I got my special secret Chipotle chicken recipe. It is fantastic. Please help us spread the word. Anybody that needs it, Smoky Hill and Arapahoe Road every first and third Thursday, 4 to 6 p.m. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me personally. It's Dan Jacobs at 303 Law 4040.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with AutoPay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just one cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here. Based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025. Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 in monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
Advent Health is Littleton's home for highly specialized, life-changing heart care. From preventive screenings to personalized treatment options, it's heartfelt care from expert hands. The Advent Health Heart and Vascular Institute is now open, ready to provide wholehearted care for your whole health.
This segment on 104.3 The Fan is brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
It's a Bud Light Football Friday. Bud Light, an official beer sponsor of the Denver Broncos. Here's Denver Sports Tonight.
Mike and Dante rolling on a Friday. Hope you have great weekend plans. Glad you're spending a few minutes with us on this lead into the weekend as we talk Broncos Cowboys. Dante, we are about to embark upon week 8 in the NFL. In fact, it got started last night with the Chargers win over the Vikings. If through, say, the first 7 weeks, I had told you that the standings in the AFC would be
Indy 6-1, New England 5-2, Denver 5-2, Pittsburgh 4-2, Buffalo 4-2, Chargers now 5-3, Jacksonville 4-3, Kansas City 4-3, the top 8. What would you have said? I would have said, that's not quite what I would think they would be through 7, almost 8 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sticking out particularly the Colts.
Oh my gosh.
The Colts being the record, or being 6-1, definitely shocking. New England, I thought, was in for a little bit of an upswing here, but 5-2 still is a little further than I would have thought. But yeah, and then Buffalo and Kansas City being surprisingly, they're still in the playoff race. They're not out of it by any means. Buffalo's still in the playoffs currently if they were to start today. But definitely just not what I would have expected coming off the seasons that they've had the last 4 or 5 years there. So I think it's a good spot for the Broncos, though. I think they're right in the thick of it. Leading the division's always great. You can host a playoff game. That's massive when it comes to playoff time. Being able to host and have that home field advantage with the crowd on your side. And Power Field has a great advantage, week in and week out on Sundays. So a playoff game there would, only, make that 10x in terms of how big of a home field advantage they have there. So I think the Broncos are in a good spot now. Just got to keep it going against some middling teams here with the Cowboys and the Texans the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, after this game against Dallas, the Broncos will be right up against the whole NFL will be right up against the halfway mark, and then after the game against Houston on Sunday, November 2nd, they'll be just past the halfway mark. So if I were to ask you, Dante, what's the ceiling for the Broncos, and how realistic is it that the Broncos get to what you think the ceiling for this team can be?
So to me, the ceiling is winning the Super Bowl. I think they have that kind of talent on this team, and I think they have that kind of coaching staff. And the defense has been incredible, obviously. So, and I'm not a homer, or being a homer by saying that. I'm not from Denver. I have no reason to say, I'm not rooting for the Broncos necessarily. Like, obviously, I like to see them do well, and it makes it, better for this job. But there's no, deep-rooted Broncos fandom inside of me. But I really think this team is capable of winning a Super Bowl. Do I think that's realistically what's going to happen? Probably not, and that's what you brought up there. I think most likely is they probably win the wild card round and then maybe fall in the divisional round to one of those. Maybe it's the Bills or something like that, but there's no reason they can't go out and win a Super Bowl or make it to the Super Bowl. So I would say the realistic chances of them winning the Super Bowl, let's just go appearing in the Super Bowl, I don't know, I'd put it at maybe a 10% chance, 15% chance.
That high?
To make it there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think there's so would that leave 85% chance that's not what ends up happening? Yeah, I feel good about that.
So then you have to be confident that the offense that we've seen to this point is going to improve fairly dramatically over the back half of the season.
Well, that combined with, I don't know if it has to improve that much for them. I mean, they're 5-2 and the offense hasn't been good. So it doesn't mean that the offense has to be completely humming for them to reach that kind of goal. I think they can rely on the defense for a large, portion of their wins. And the offense has to be, marginally better than what we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, if they made a run to the Super Bowl, do I think it's possible? I do. Am I expecting that? I'm not. So from that standpoint, that's not a realistic ceiling for me. It would be a welcome ceiling, or it would be something I would love to see. I'm not from here. I've been around these parts long enough to where, yeah, I'd love to see it. I'm trying to stay objective. I think the floor, though, for me, the realistic floor is a playoff berth and in the first round. Maybe not a blowout loss, but getting there and falling short. At this point, I think there's so much room to improve offensively, and I think there's more than enough ability there from Bo to the other guys that's why I'm not saying the realistic floor is missing the playoffs. Again, possible, of course, absolutely. If they don't improve offensively, that could very well be the floor. You never know. But at the same time, I just think there's too much upside to guys on this offense. If they go all year dropping these passes and committing these pre-snap penalties, then Sean Payton's really got to look at some of his routines that he sets in the offseason. But Dante, I see the floor as a playoff berth, and then kind of a coin flip, which is, or maybe a little bit below a coin flip, if you will, a team that is seemingly not up to snuff in the playoffs going into that matchup and maybe bows out in the first round. I would be really disappointed if it were lower than that.
No, I agree. I think that's a very good, realistic floor for this team where they're, maybe similar to last year where they're in the playoffs but not a total believable playoff team in terms of hanging with the big dogs in the AFC. I think that's realistic, but again, I'm just always going to believe in this defense, and a defense can win you any game on any given Sunday. I think they really can. This defense particularly can keep you in pretty much any matchup you have against the AFC. No one in the AFC looks unbeatable. It's not like we have a Chiefs or a Bills or Ravens from last year. No one's impressed me to the point where it's like, hey, the Broncos can't, like they have no shot in terms of that kind of prediction for a game. I think they could beat any of these teams.
So when it comes to the matchup against the Cowboys, I think back to the Giants game, and I think about the defense slipping on occasion. And there's not a lot of margin for error. I mean, if the defense slips, the way the Broncos offense has performed over the course of start to finish of a game, we haven't seen a lot of good. They've been able to turn it on in fourth quarters and do enough, and they get credit for that. How effective do you think the Broncos defense will be against the Cowboys offense? Is this a day that the defense says, you know what, all right, you bring in all those big-time numbers offensively, we're going to have a day ourselves? Do you think they'll have that kind of day?
I don't think it's going to be an overly impressive day, if that's what you're asking in terms of
That's what I'm asking.
I think they will hold the Cowboys to under their averages in a lot of this stuff, in a lot of the categories. So I don't expect Dak Prescott to go out and throw for 350 yards. I think it'll be maybe in the 250 to 275 range. I think Javonte Williams, you're not going to completely shut him down, but maybe you hold him to 50, 60 yards, something like that. So I think well under a lot of the team's average numbers, but I don't think they're going to go out and shut out the Cowboys or anything like that. I think the Cowboys even if it's on one of the better days of the Broncos side, I think that still means the Cowboys are scoring 22 3-points.
Yeah, well, and they're averaging 32, which is second in the NFL, and they're averaging 390 yards of offense, which is tops in the NFL. Do they get there?
To 395?
Or 390?
390. I'll go under. I think it'll be maybe close to like 340.
I think they'll do some good things. I think they'll move the ball. I think they'll score some points. But here's where I am encouraged. And again, this is where the rubber meets the road for me. I don't think Dallas is going to come in and defensively just simply lie down and let the Broncos walk all over them. I think Dallas defensively is probably coming in thinking, hey, with the way that Broncos offense has performed on a consistent basis, we can have a big day, even though it's on the road. And yet, what the Cowboys have done, the body of work to this point defensively has not been good. I think the Broncos take a step forward in the consistency of play offensively this week. Does that mean they're going to go out and score 45? Don't think so. But does that mean that I think we could have them not have to rely on 33 in the fourth to rally? I do.
Well, I got a question for you then. Do you think we see them score, let's call it 10 points in each half?
Yeah,
at least 10 points.
Obviously,
we're thinking more, but I'm saying in terms of not relying on a crazy fourth quarter, second half comeback, do you think we see at least 10 in each?
If they don't put up, well, I'll start this way, which isn't a total answer to your question. If they don't put up over 20 points, I'll be really disappointed. And if it's not more balanced than we've seen, in other words, waited to the fourth quarter, I'll also be disappointed because this Dallas defense has not been good consistently, much like the Broncos offense hasn't been good consistently. And if Dallas consistently wins that battle where the defense is better than the Broncos offense for a good portion of the day, absolutely I'll be disappointed. Will you?
Yes, absolutely. I don't know if I'll be surprised. I think maybe realistically I'm looking for like a 50-50 split in terms of how productive the Broncos is, but that's still a step forward than what we've seen in the last 3 weeks from the offense.
And we need to see the offense take a noticeable step forward against this defense because the opportunity is there. We're going to shift gears as we continue on Denver Sports tonight. The Nuggets open up the season last night against the Warriors. Don't fall into this temptation with the Nuggets. That's next.
The Fan Flyaway is back, presented by 303 Law 4040. Save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. To kick off 2026, Denver Sports 1043 The Fan is sending you to Phoenix for the biggest party in golf. Airfare, hotel tickets, and $500 in spending money all included. Head to thefanflyaway.com to register. That's thefanflyaway.com. Denver Sports 1043 The Fan.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they helped me. They calmed me down. They made me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-783-8055. That's 800-783-8055. 800-783-8055.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Help DEA keep our communities safe and healthy by participating in National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, Saturday, October 25th. Take action right in your own home by cleaning out your medicine cabinet of unneeded medications. Keep them safe, clean them out, take them back. Find a collection site near you at DEATakeback.com. Do your part to lower overdose deaths and prevent prescription drug misuse before it starts. That's DEATakeback.com.
Is your financial advisor offering you up to a 30% upfront bonus? Or are they promising you up to 10% growth per year, all for your retirement income? If not, then you need to come to Trajan Wealth. I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. If you have a plan to retire within the next 10 years, don't wait only to find out it's too late. I've seen hardworking folks like you retire only to be required to go back to work, all because their advisor told them guarantees like these were too good to be true. They're not. That's up to $30,000 upfront or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't keep working when you're supposed to be retired, and don't let any financial advisor tell you it's too good to be true. Call Trajan today, 720-204-8100. That's 720-204-8100.
Annuities not advisory products. DBA Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions. Additional disclosures at trajanwealth.com.
More than a few of our patients have talked to me about their first time, but it's not the first time you're probably thinking about. It's the first time that erectile dysfunction ruined the moment. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and if you're over 50, it's likely you've had that first time yourself. But the good news is that if you're like most men, that first time can be the last time that ED impacts your sex life. At the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, we're experts in treating ED. We've treated tens of thousands of men using protocols with success rates well over 90%. And those treatments have, in most cases, made sex great again for both them and their partners. You could even find that you're performing like you haven't in years. So if ED has been affecting your intimacy, it's time to make the last time that happens the last time that happens. For just $99, you'll receive blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com. We have 5 offices across the Front Range to serve you.
Wow, Leslie, your fireplace really sucks.
I beg your pardon?
Well, what I mean is your fireplace is literally sucking all the air out of your house and right up the chimney every time you burn it.
Well, what can I do about it?
Well, you could get a high-efficiency gas insert from Cozy Heat. It keeps all the air you already pay the utility company to heat, and it returns up to 80% of the fire's heat back into your house.
I'd use my fireplace every chance I get if I could do that. Maybe my furnace wouldn't need to run so much.
Well, that's the whole point. Hi, this is Keith Lair with Lair Fireplace and Patio, along with my niece Leslie, to tell you how a gas insert from Cozy Heat will give you the incentive to use your fireplace again. Cozy Heat gas fireplaces and inserts are made to crank out the heat with beauty and style.
Lair's is Denver's oldest, most trusted name in fireplaces. Family owned and operated since 1954.
We'll even give you a free in-home quote, including expert installation by our own certified in-house installers.
Find us on the web at lairfireplacepatio.com.
For top quality Cozy Heat fireplaces and inserts, it's Lair Fireplace and Patio, Denver's fireplace experts.
This segment on 104.3 The Fan brought to you by Flanagan Law.
Get ready for every Broncos game with Super Bowl 50 champion Brandon Marshall as he joins the drive every Friday afternoon at 4:45 exclusively on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Thanks to Corwin Toyota Boulder. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. DenverSports.com and the Denver Sports app. It's a Bud Light Football Friday. Bud Light, an official beer sponsor of the
better team than the Nuggets. I cannot be convinced of that right now anyway. And I'm watching it, and Curry starts doing his thing in the second half, and Curry keeps doing his thing in the fourth quarter, and it's Curry throwing up bombs that find the bottom of the net, and I'm just getting frustrated. I'm going, and then Joker misses the shot right at the end of regulation. They misfire down the stretch a couple of times. They don't get the ball to AG late in the game and in overtime, and the guy's 10 of 11 from downtown. And I know the Warriors adjust a little bit and do all that, but I mean, AG can't miss. He's 17 of 21 in the game. And then I took a deep breath and I said, Mike, you're falling into the temptation of the NBA. The NBA, especially because I have big expectations for the Nuggets this year, really big. And I'm thinking they got to win this game. I mean, and I'm starting to get worked up. Just inside, I'm grinding like it's, January, February. And I go, dude, this is what I'm saying to myself. It's the first game. You're falling into the temptation that I'm not going to say that these games don't matter, because they do matter, but relax, because we all know the rhythm of the NBA season. Been there, done that, seen it over and over and over. And so I started to fall into the temptation that you can't fall into, which is putting a lot into one game in the first few weeks of a season, even the first couple months of an NBA season. And I did it last night. I was frustrated, though, that the Nuggets didn't pull that one out.
Yeah, well, I'm going to agree and disagree with you a little bit here.
Okay.
One, the disagreement is on Golden State. I think Golden State is a very good team. I think Steph Curry's still a top 8 team in this league. And while I think the Nuggets are the better team, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion, 100% chance if these teams met in the playoffs that the Nuggets are going to win that series. I would pick the Nuggets, but I still think Golden State's very good. I still think Steph Curry is arguably probably the number 2 like kind of gravitational player on offense. I think in terms of how much attention you need to have towards him as a defense. I think Jokic is number 1 in terms of that. I think you always need to be focused on what's going on when Jokic has the ball, but I think Steph's not very far behind in terms of when he has the ball, or even when he doesn't have the ball, you got to know where that guy is. So I think Golden State's very good, but I'm with you on it's game 1. I think obviously would have been great if the Nuggets win, yes, but it wasn't the worst loss. I think Aaron Gordon proved that he can be the number 2 best player on this team, ahead of Jamal Murray even. Well, I think Jamal Murray is going to have a better year than he had last year. I think Aaron Gordon is proving why maybe he can be that, maybe it's Gordon and Murray are 2A, 2B. In terms of, usually that phrase is thrown out for the 1A, 1B, but obviously Jokic is going to be number 1 on this team. But I think Gordon and Murray can be that 2A, 2B on this team, kind of split that number 2 role. But to me, it was in terms of not overreacting. That's how I feel about Cam Johnson's game. I know Cam Johnson wasn't great last night, but I think he's in a tough spot. It's 4 starters that have played a lot of basketball games together over the last 2 years, 3 years, and you're kind of just throwing him into the mix of it. I think it's going to take some time for him to find out where he fits on this team offensively and defensively and kind of gain that chemistry. So I'm waiting till, obviously, I'm expecting flashes from Cam Johnson throughout the first couple months here, but I'm going to wait until maybe like Christmas, the new year, until I'm really judging Cam Johnson on a consistent basis. Until then, I'm expecting flashes, but I'm still expecting maybe it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back in games up until then.
No, I think that's a good way to put it. I think generally speaking, up until the first of the year, my take on an NBA season is, what do I see? And are there disturbing trends that are starting to develop that are worth watching? Or is there something of an identity that's really positive that is also worth watching to see if it sticks on into January, February, and then hopefully, deep into the playoffs? So I'm with you there that I don't want to, and I started to just fall into that because I wanted to see him win. And I'll take my chances that Joker's not going to shoot 15% from downtown on the year. He was 2 of 13 last night, just had a bad game. And Christian Brown did not have a good game at all either. And granted, as you referred to, he was trying to watch Stephen Curry for a good portion of his time on the floor, and that's a heavy lift for any player. And I will just say, at some point, I'll just tip my cap to Stephen Curry. I mean, the dude has been doing it for so long, and he's still so dangerous. As a shooter, he really is, and I try not to use this term, Dante, but he's a generational shooter, man. I mean, the dude can still fire and hit from pretty much anywhere. I hated to see it, but for the first game, the season opener at home, I kind of give him his props, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know whatever is above generational, but I think he's that in terms of shooting.
One of a kind?
Yeah, I mean,
special talent?
The best shooter ever in NBA history.
Or at least in this era?
Yes. So I think he's still very good. So
yeah.
I'm excited for this Nuggets team, though. I'm with you. I think we have high expectations. The one thing that did concern me a little bit was the defense. I didn't think the defense was great.
Agreed.
In a game 1 where, the other side, the other team is still trying to iron out a lot of their offensive play as well. So to look as bad as not as bad as they did, but didn't impress me, at least defensively.
Suns at the Nuggets tomorrow night. Avs go to Boston Saturday, at New Jersey Sunday. CSU Wyoming up in Laramie in football on Saturday, and the Buffs will be at Utah Saturday night. Dante, always fun. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too, Mike.
For Dante Gomez, I'm Mike Rice. Thanks for joining us. It's Denver Sports Tonight on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
Will Sean Payton mix more tempo into his offense? Can Nick Benito and Jonathan Cooper slow down Dak Prescott? We'll react to it all in the Fan Football Postgame Show, live on game day starting at the 2-minute warning. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
Dan Jacobs with 303 Law 4040 with just a friendly tip here. I like to remind people that they never want to be gambling that the person that hits them has good insurance. So I want you to take a look at your insurance policies. Check and make sure that you have two things. One's called MedPay coverage. You want to make sure you have that. And then also UM/UIM coverage. This will protect you in case you get into an accident and the person that hits you doesn't have good insurance. If you have any questions, just give me a call. 303 Law 4040. That's 303 Law 4040.
What if you could delay your next 2 mortgage payments? That's right. Imagine putting those 2 payments in your pocket and finally getting a little breathing room ahead of the holidays. It's possible when you call American Financing today. If you're feeling stretched by everyday expenses, groceries, gas, bills piling up, you're not alone. Most Americans are putting these expenses on credit cards, and credit card rates are insane in the 20s or even 30s. American Financing can show you how to use your home's equity to pay off that debt with rates in the low 5s. Their salary-based mortgage consultants are helping homeowners just like you restructure their loans and save money every month, all without upfront fees. Their customers are saving an average of $800 a month. That's like a $10,000 raise without having to change jobs. Call American Financing before it's too late at 303-695-7000. That's 303-695-7000, or visit them online at americanfinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSconsumeraccess.org. APR for rates in the 5s start at 6.196% for well-qualified buyers. Call 303-695-7000 for details about credit costs and terms.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first, on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home for you so you attract the right buyers. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
Hey, bro, weirdest thing is happening at the game. Every time I crack a Bud Light, we score a touchdown. I think I'm some kind of football prophet.
Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Stock up today. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Football is here, and Fitness Gallery's fall football sale is your playbook for a winning home gym. Save up to 50% off on select premium equipment. Visit any of our 7 stores from Denver to Fort Collins and score big the